You know more English than you think, but when it's time to speak, your brain suddenly freezes. The sentence is in your head, yet the words come out slowly, awkwardly, or not at all. Why does this happen? Because your brain is doing something fluency killers always do. It's translating your native language, then English, then speaking. And that extra step is silently destroying your speaking speed. But here's the good news. You can train your brain to think directly in English, and when that happens, speaking suddenly becomes faster, easier, and far more natural. Today, I'll show you exactly how to do it. Most English learners follow the exact same mental process. Someone asks them a question in English. First, their brain converts that question into their native language. Then they think about the answer. And finally, they translate the answer back into English. Only then do they speak. But by the time they're ready, the conversation has already moved on. That small delay creates hesitation. Hesitation creates pressure. And pressure slowly destroys confidence. You start feeling like your English is worse than it actually is. But here's the important truth. The problem isn't your vocabulary, and it's not your grammar either. The real problem is how your brain processes language. Fluent speakers don't translate sentences. They don't build language in 2 steps. They simply think in English and speak. The thought appears, the words follow, and the sentence comes out naturally. No mental detours, no extra processing, just direct communication. Fluency isn't about knowing thousands of words, it's about thinking faster. The real goal of fluency is simple. Thought, English, speak. No middle language, no translation step, just a direct connection between your thoughts and English. And once your brain builds that connection, something powerful happens. Speaking stops feeling like a test. It starts feeling like a normal thought process. But the big question is, how do you actually train your brain to do that? Let's start with the simplest and most powerful step. The biggest mistake learners make when trying to think in English is starting too big. They try to create long sentences, complex ideas, perfect grammar, and their brain immediately feels overwhelmed. So, here's the secret. Start extremely simple. Think like a child learning language for the first time. Small thoughts, short sentences, things your brain can process instantly. For example, I'm tired. I'm hungry. I like this. This is interesting. These sentences may look basic, but they are powerful because they train your brain to connect thoughts directly with English words. No translation, just recognition and expression. Now take it one step further. Look around your environment. Describe what you see. The room is quiet. My phone is on the table. It's hot today. These are everyday observations, and that's exactly what your brain needs. Real thoughts, real situations, real language. When you do this consistently, something important happens. Your brain slowly stops searching for your native language first. Instead, it starts forming the thought directly in English. And that's the beginning of real fluency. Here's a simple trick that works surprisingly well. Wherever you go, mentally label things in English. Door, window, chair, car, street, phone, laptop. At first, it feels almost too easy, but this exercise is doing something powerful behind the scenes. It's rewiring your brain to associate objects with English words instantly. Not translations, just direct recognition. Once that becomes comfortable, add small descriptions. The door is open. The car is fast. The street is busy. Now you're not just naming objects, you're building natural English thoughts. And the more you connect English to your real environment, the less your brain depends on translation. English slowly becomes part of your daily thinking process. Here's a truth many learners overlook. You can't think in English if there isn't enough English inside your brain. Your brain needs raw material to work with. Words, phrases, sentence patterns.
Without enough exposure, your brain has nothing to build thoughts from. That's why input is so important. Input simply means the English you listen to or read every day. But not just any input. It should be short, clear, and natural. Short videos, podcasts, conversations, beginner-friendly content. The goal is not to understand every word perfectly. The goal is to absorb patterns. Listen carefully to the phrases people use again and again. For example, how are you doing? That sounds good. I'm not sure. Let me think. These small phrases may seem ordinary, but they are incredibly powerful because fluent speakers use them automatically. And when you hear them often enough, your brain starts doing something interesting. It begins storing them as ready-to-use thinking tools. Instead of building sentences word by word, your mind starts pulling entire phrases instantly. That's how fluent speakers think, not through translation, but through patterns they've heard thousands of times. And once those patterns become familiar, your thoughts start forming faster, more naturally, more confidently. Listening alone is helpful, but repetition is what turns language into instinct. Whenever you hear a useful sentence, repeat it, out loud if possible, or quietly in your mind. Say it once, then again, then again. Not to memorize it like a school lesson, but to make the sentence feel natural in your mouth and mind. The more familiar a phrase becomes, the faster your brain can use it in conversation. And speed is exactly what we're trying to build. Because when your brain can access phrases instantly, thinking in English stops feeling difficult. It starts feeling automatic. Now here's the part many learners worry about. How do I completely stop translating? The answer is simple. You don't stop it overnight. Trying to force your brain to suddenly remove translation is frustrating and unrealistic. Instead, you reduce it step by step. Start with the easiest types of thoughts, your feelings, your daily activities, your plans. For example, I'm tired today. I need coffee. I have work later. I want to watch a movie. These thoughts happen naturally during the day, and they're perfect opportunities to practice direct English thinking. If you forget a word, don't panic. Don't run back to your native language. Instead, simplify your idea. Use the words you already know. For example, if you forget the word delicious, you could simply say, "This food is very good." Fluency isn't about perfect vocabulary. It's about continuous thinking. The moment you keep the thought moving in English, you are building fluency. Many people believe they need hours of study every day, but the truth is much simpler. You don't need hours, you need moments. Think in English for 1 minute, several times a day, while walking, while waiting in line, while cooking, before sleeping. These tiny moments train your brain consistently, and consistency is what builds habits. The more often your brain switches into English thinking, the more natural it becomes. At first, it may feel slow, maybe even uncomfortable, but that's normal. Every new skill feels strange at the beginning. After a few days, you'll notice something interesting. Your thoughts start appearing faster. After a few weeks, English begins to feel familiar. And one day, you realize something amazing. You're no longer translating. You're just thinking. And that's the real bridge between knowing English and speaking it fluently. So, start small, stay consistent, don't chase perfection. Train your brain a little every day, and your English will follow. If this video helped you, like the video, share it with someone learning English, and subscribe for more simple and powerful lessons. And remember, one thought, one sentence, one step at a time. I'll see you in the next video.